And hello and welcome to Scalino's Field on the campus of Cal Poly Pomona. Dave Bear on the play-by-play. So glad you could join us for this SCCBL matchup featuring the Inland Valley Buccaneers taking on the Inland Valley Pirates. Of course, we'll get you the fashion report right now, and that will be that the Buccaneers will be wearing their customary white shirts with the cutoff shirts at that, and then red undershirts and white pants, and the Pirates, of course, in their red shirts, red hats, and white pants. As we are just about working our way to opening pitch, we are set to start at 2 o'clock, but it is 2 o'clock right now, and the manager Charlie Reynoso for the Pirates and Kevin Bowler for the Buccaneers are in a conference right now with the two umpires at home plate. So we're just about getting set to start here for the first of two in a doubleheader. We do have a little bit of news for you for tomorrow. Tomorrow's game, the Pirates against the Legends, has been canceled, so there will be no game on Sunday. So the Pirates will have an off day tomorrow before having a huge doubleheader against the Power on Monday here at Scalino's Field. We'll get you the starting lineup and the defensive arrangements very quickly right now as we are just about getting set to play here from Cal Poly Pomona in what should be a very, very big doubleheader for both teams, really. If you look at the league standings, Pirates sit at 2-2, while the Buccaneers are 2-6. And so for the Bucs really need both games today if they want to kind of get into contention. You have to be the number 3 seed to get into the playoffs. So they need to start winning and winning quickly to the Buccaneers if they want to get into contention. Meanwhile, for the Pirates, it's kind of the same deal for the Pirates, but you've only played 4 games so far, and 2 are against Palm Springs Power, which many people, when you look at the league, you think, well, this is a team that's three-peated, and this is a team that's won 5 of 7 years. So they are obviously, one of the top teams, but obviously the Pirates have shown and demonstrated coming into today 10-3-1 that they are another force to be reckoned with. So we'd like to see what's going to happen today. Kind of throw out, everything that happened in the first 3 games between these teams, even though that the Pirates won all 3. These are the games that will actually matter here today. I mean, the other games do matter. They counted on the record, but these are the ones that will actually count for SCCBL play. So let's get you the starting lineups right now without further ado. Here is the starting lineup for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Leading off in left field will be Miles Ryan. Batting second, and at second is Rudy Casares. Batting third, the shortstop, hitting .300, Kevin Riley. Batting fourth in the cleanup spot is Anthony Rubito, the right fielder. Batting fifth at first base, Jack Spahn. Batting sixth, the catcher, Johnny Juarez. Batting seventh and at third is Gerardo Ramirez. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, Tanner Thibodeau. And last but not least, batting ninth is Mbusi Lachwayo. That is Lachwayo, Mbusi, as we got his correct pronunciation today from him. He originally said it was Slashwayo, even though there's no S, but now he says it's definitely Lachwayo. So we'll definitely call him Lachwayo the rest of the season. Thank you for that, Mbusi. And don't be shy about getting us the pronunciations. And here is the defensive alignment for the Inland Valley Pirates, who will start in the field. This will be a home game for the Pirates. We're not sure about what's going to happen in the second game of the doubleheader. Of course, there's 4 league games between the 2 teams, and at some point, each team will be home twice, and each team will be the road team twice. So today it might be the Pirates home both times, but we'll figure that out later for game 2. But here is the defensive alignment for the Inland Valley Pirates, who are having a little conference down the first base line and are almost ready to start play here at Cal Poly Pomona. In left field will be Andrew Alvarez. In center field, Jacob Bernardi. In right field is Virgin. At third base is Reynoso. Shortstop is Fernando Escobar. The second baseman, Kyle Jackson. First baseman, A.J. David. And behind the dish, of course, Christian Kelly. Starting on the bump for the Inland Valley Pirates will be Ryan Romero. Romero comes in pitching 12 innings here this summer, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a 3.00 ERA. So he's been a solid performer so far in the season. Of course, Ryan Romero, one of 4 San Francisco State Gators on this team. We mentioned another one of his teammates from San Francisco State who is the leadoff hitter today for the Pirates, and that, of course, is Fernando Escobar. Also, Bryce Cherry and Corey Davis are the other 2 Gators that represent San Francisco State on this Pirates team. But like I said, we are just about set to start play here. It's 2:04, so we're getting a little bit of a late start for this doubleheader, as Charlie Reynoso gives his final instructions to his team down the first baseline, and meanwhile, the same thing's going on down the third baseline with Kevin Bowler and the Buccaneers. Like I said, really glad that you could join us here for this doubleheader. This will be a SCCBL matchup here today in both games, so we are thrilled to bring both of these games to you on InlandValleyBaseball.com. Just kind of to give you a little heads up, we'll try to check in every once in a while just to see how the High Desert Heat and Team San Diego are doing. That is another conference doubleheader that's happening here today. They actually split last night, so that means that the High Desert Heat are now 3-3 in league play, while Team San Diego is 4-2. Meanwhile, the Power remain 3-1 in league play, so they're in first. So that's the entire standings for the SCCBL. If you want me to run through it quickly, it's the Power at 3-1, San Diego at 4-2. The Bucks are 2-2. The Heat are 3-3, and the Bucks are 2-6. I believe I said the Bucks are 2-2. The Pirates are 2-2, and the Bucks are 2-6. So still going to have a few more minutes before the opening pitch starts. The Pirates haven't taken the field yet, but they're about to do that right now. As we mentioned, Ryan Romero will be the starting pitcher for the Inland Valley Pirates, so it'll be interesting to see how he responds in this big situation here, getting the nod for a conference game for the Pirates, a very meaningful conference game, as we mentioned, just 2-2 in league play so far. Of course, really just underway in terms of the SCCBL schedule, as the Pirates would love nothing more than to try to sweep both games of the doubleheader and potentially play the Power on Monday with a 4-2 record, and then who knows what will happen in that game. But obviously we have these two games that are very meaningful here today between the Bucks and Pirates. Ryan Romero, the right-handed pitcher, is now on the mound, throwing his warm-up pitches to Christian Kelly. As we mentioned, Christian Kelly is the backstop that is going to be behind home plate. Ryan Romero, we'll get you his information and his stats a little bit later on. We actually already mentioned his SCCBL stats, but we'll talk about him a lot more as we have the chance, because he is the starting pitcher, so we figured to see him out here for a good amount of innings here today. But Ryan Romero, I saw him in the dugout before the game, and he was actually very excited for the Power doubleheader on Monday, which was funny because I said, not so fast. You got to win these two here today. These are very important games in the league. And he kind of shook it off, but he was really excited for those two Power games, because I guess the deal is that if they sweep those two games on Monday here at Cal Poly Pomona, the manager, Charlie Reynoso, will take the entire team to an Angels game in a suite. So that's a little extra incentive for the men in red to see the Halos, who also wear, of course, that red, as we are just about set to play finally here at 2:07 Pacific Standard Time from Cal Poly Pomona. Here comes Miles Ryan. And you know what? Let's just run through the lineup again really quickly, because it's been about 8 minutes since we started on air, so we'll just run through the starting lineup once again very quickly for the Buccaneers. Leading off is Ryan. Casares is second. Riley, Rapido, the cleanup hitter. Spawn, Juarez, Ramirez, Thibodeau, and last but not least, Lachuayo. That is the starting lineup for the Buccaneers. First pitch, fastball in there on the inside corner, called strike one, and we are underway. It's 0-1 here to Miles Ryan, the left fielder, going against Ryan Romero, so righty-on-righty action, as Kevin Bowler is the third base coach, also the manager of this team. Nice breaking ball in there at the knees on the outside corner, and it's 0-2. That's exactly what you want to see if you're the Pirates. Ryan Romero quickly getting ahead of the first hitter he sees. Down the first base line is actually Nathaniel Acosta, as this breaking ball is swung on and driven through the left side. Make a backhanded grab deep in the hole is Escobar, and Escobar makes a very, very nice play for the first out of the game. As we mentioned, going deep in that 5-6 hole, backhanding it, throwing a laser across the diamond to record the first out. So 6-3 on that put out, as Rudy Casares comes up for the first time, the second baseman, who's really been a leader for this team offensively, hitting .353 on the season. He swings at the first pitch and bounces it foul down the third base line. You mentioned Nathaniel Acosta, one of the players on the Buccaneers, is at first base, being the first base coach for them right now. He's a very good player as well. He's another player that you can put in as a position player, but also pitches. Fastball misses high for ball one, so it's 1-1 here to Rudy Casares. course, Ryan Romero, large right-handed pitcher, 6'5", 190, as this one misses high and in and is 2-1. So very slender is the big righty, Ryan Romero. He'll be a senior at San Francisco State next season. Late kick, and here's the pitch. Fastball high and in again, and that was some chin music type of pitch right there, as Casares had to duck his head out of the way. And it's 3-1. A hitter's pitch to come for the Bucs here, as this one now hits Casares in the left arm, and that was a fastball, and Casares throws his bat over towards the third base dugout and now hustles down the first base line. So Ryan Romero, very, very wild on that last at bat, throwing two pitches basically over the head of Casares, and then one that finally hit him right in that left shoulder, kind of left back area, as Casares tried to turn out of the way, just couldn't get out of the way in time. So the Bucs have their first man on base here in the doubleheader, in the form of Rudy Casares, who takes his lead off first. Here's Kevin Riley, the shortstop, batting .300 for the Buccaneers. Swings at the first pitch and lines it over to the second baseman, Jackson. Jackson fires the first, and that'll be a 4-3 double play. It was a line drive that Jackson moved about one, shuffle step to his right, caught it and slung it across to first baseman A.J. David to complete the double play. And just like that, the Buccaneers are retired here in the first inning. And at the end of one half inning of play from Cal Poly Pomona, it remains scoreless between the Bucs and Pirates. And welcome back to Cal Poly Pomona. Scalinos Field, of course, named after the legendary head coach here, Coach Scalinos, of course, who won 3 national championships for Cal Poly Pomona. We're headed to the bottom of the first, scoreless game between the Pirates and Buccaneers. Let's run through the lineup very quickly for the Inland Valley Pirates. Leading off will be number 1, Fernando Escobar. Then we've got Reynoso, Alvarez, and then cleanup is David. Batting 5th, Jackson. Bernardi, Nathan version, batting 7th. Christian Kelly, and last but not least, at the designated hitter is George Ortega, as Micah Byer will be the starting pitcher for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. He's actually working out of the stretch here to start things off, and he hits Escobar on the right foot for the very first pitch of the game. So actually, we only had 2 base runners. It still is the first inning, though, and both runners who've reached base reach on the form of being hit by a pitch. Fernando Escobar, a very, very good leadoff hitter for the Inland Valley Pirates, came into today with a .367 batting clip. Of course, that will not add to the batting average, but it will add to the on-base percentage, which is, something that's very, very important for a leadoff hitter. Here comes Johnny Reynoso, batting .280 on the season. Left-handed hitter, takes ball 1 low and away, and is 1-0. Well, it'll be very interesting to see how the Pirates play against Micah Byer, because Byer is one of the 2 players on the Bucs who actually played for the Pirates last season. So you would think that Byer is very, very familiar with all the hitters on this team as he comes set through the stretch. Squaring around was Reynoso, and he actually brought it back, but it was called a strike on the outside corner. So it's now a 1-1. Johnny Reynoso, 5'11", 185 pounds, headed to West Texas A&M, where he'll be a junior this coming season. Played for Sisters College the past couple seasons and had 2 very, very stellar years for them. Runners off, that's Escobar. It's a hit and run through the left side hole, making a diving attempt. This is Ramirez, and it hits off the edge of his glove, so that'll be an infield single for Reynoso as Escobar advances 90 feet up to second base and in the scoring position with the big guy, Andrew Alvarez, stepping up to the plate for the first time. So that'll be the first base hit of the game for Reynoso. As we mentioned, Andrew Alvarez, a very, very talented player for this Pirates team, comes to the plate. And, not just the Pirates, but this is probably one of the best players you will see in this league altogether. He has the entire package. First pitch, breaking ball, in there on the outside corner, called strike 1, and it's 0-1 to Alvarez. Of course, this last week, he was named the SCCBL Pitcher of the Week. He's the only pitcher to record a victory against the Power this year. The Power are 15-1. Andrew Alvarez went 8 strong innings, 6 strikeouts against them, only 2 runs. He's squaring around here and then brings it back, but it's called a strike anyways on the outside corner. So it's 0-2. I guess it is kind of a sacrifice bunt situation because there were 2 men on, no outs. But this is your big stick in the lineup, Mr. Alvarez. Bayer comes set at the stretch, fires. This one swung on a chopped foul down the third base line, so we'll do it again. Another 0-2 pitch to come. Andrew Alvarez, large in stature, is the right-handed hitter, 6'4", 230 pounds. Of course, we'll be joining his buddy Greg Espinosa at Houston Baptist next season. A very good Division I program in the Southland Conference. Micah Bear taking a long look at his catcher Johnny Juarez, signals, and then steps off the mound. He will step right back on the bump right now, as it remains 0-2 here to Alvarez, bottom of the first inning, and Bear steps off the mound once again. Andrew Alvarez is a major in sports medicine. Of course, we see lots of guys doing that type of thing in baseball, sports medicine, kinesiology, something like that as time is called for by Juarez. So they really are having either a struggle, maybe mixing up signals and pitches or something, because Beyer had stepped off the mound about 2 or 3 times, and then Juarez calls timeout to join him at the mound. And now we're just about ready for play to resume as the home plate umpire wipes off the plate and says play ball. Still 0-2 here at Alvarez with 2 men on. Taking a big lead off second is Escobar, and that drew Beyer's foot off the mound. Beyer steps off the mound because Escobar was well off second base, and nobody was really covering him either. Beyer once again checking the runner at second, who once again shuffles. And this one is swung on and missed in the dirt by Alvarez, so down goes Alvarez. Strikeout there for Beyer. And that'll be the first out here for the Buccaneers in the first inning. Here comes A.J. David, the cleanup hitter, batting .280 on the season. Of course, was an SCCBL All-Star last year in 2013, where he led the team with a .340 batting average. Also had a .466 on-base percentage last summer, so pretty much getting on base 1 out of every 2 times he stepped up into the batter's box. Love to take advantage of 2 men on here with 1 out in the bottom of the first inning, as this one misses high and away for ball 1, 1-0 the count. Actually on deck is another All-Star from last season who actually tied A.J. David with a .340 batting clip for the best on the team. That, of course, is Kyle Jackson. Beyer comes set in the stretch, fires, breaking ball in at the knees, called strike 1, and it's 1-1 to A.J. David. David, of course, headed to Cal Baptist, which is actually where Micah Beyer started his career at Cal Baptist. David is a 6'2", 200-pound left-handed hitter. Open stance, rocking the bat back and forth. Takes low for ball 2, 2-1 the count. Breaking ball in the dirt. Both runners will advance on the wild pitch. So now 2 men in scoring position here for the Pirates. And the bottom of the first, after that wild pitch, advances both of them 90 feet. And now A.J. David ahead in the count, looking to drive something here. Of course, A.J. David was very, very good for San Bernardino Valley College before getting that scholarship to Cal Baptist. In fact, he already had a scholarship to Cal Baptist locked away before his sophomore season started. He got a scholarship offer for them in December of last year. Here's the pitch from Beyer. Way high and away, and a nice catch by Johnny Juarez to make sure that Escobar, the speedy Escobar at third base, didn't come home and score on a wild pitch. Juarez displaying some hang time right there as the pitch was way high and away. He took about a couple steps to his left and made a really nice jumping catch. Another breaking ball high and away, and that's ball 4. So A.J. David will walk over to first base, and the bases are now loaded here for the Pirates in the first inning with Kyle Jackson up at the plate. We mentioned Kyle Jackson's offensive prowess back last season, tying for the team lead with a .340 batting clip and going to the All-Star game in Palm Springs. Also led the team in runs scored with 12 last year. As this fastball misses outside, and it's 1-0 to Kyle Jackson. This season he's hitting .320 so far. He's really come on strong the last few games. I think he had a little bit of a struggle his first few games, but lately he's been really raking for the Pirates. Here's the pitch. Checks his swing. It was a breaking ball in the dirt. Did he go? It doesn't look like there will be any appeal, so the answer will be no, he did not go. So it's now 2-0 here to Kyle Jackson. Jackson is a 6'1", 205-pound right-handed hitter from Chaffey College. Last season, in 34 games, he hit .370 for them. So clearly very, very talented with his bat is Kyle Jackson. This one swung on a miss, foul tipped actually, and it's 2-1 into the glove of Juarez. As Jacob Bernardi was, the on-deck batter was actually jumping the gun. He was coming into the batter's box after he saw the foul tip. Actually, he must have thought that was strike 3, but it was only strike 2 here to Kyle Jackson. Jackson in the bottom of the first inning with 1 out and the bases loaded. Here's the pitch from Byer. Fastball. Outside corner, called strike 3. And down goes Kyle Jackson as there's a big roar from the Bucs dugout. Obviously a happy roar that they get out of that one. And now there's 2 outs here. So Byer now with 2 strikeouts in the first inning, 1 against Alvarez and 1 against Jackson, the number 3 and 5 hitters, as Jacob Bernardi steps up to the plate, 296 on the season for the right-handed hitter. Takes breaking ball at the knees, and it's 0-1 to the 6'2", 190-pounder. Of course, another one of these Cal Poly Pomona Broncos here, one of 7 for the Pirates on this team. There's also one on the Buccaneers. That's Trask, the pitcher. This one misses out. Oh, it's called a strike on the outside corner. And it's 0-2. Wow. It looked like Juarez clearly backhanded that pitch, but it must have crossed before he kind of backhanded it. And it's 0-2. So here's the pitch. Foul tipped off the leg, the right thigh of Juarez. Juarez is going to have to kind of shake it off and maybe walk around as he now gets up to his feet and has his hands on his knees, kind of hunched over. Home plate umpire cleaning off home plate to kind of delay the proceedings a little bit as Coach Smith, the pitching coach for the Buccaneers, comes to check on his catcher, Juarez. Of course, Coach Smith is also the uncle of Michael Smith, wears number 25 on the Buccaneers and is actually from Oklahoma and is living with his uncle here this season, this summer season, to get some cracks at it in a collegiate league, seeing top competition at the high school level. That must be really, really exciting and fun for him. As Juarez still kind of shaking it off, you're in a very, very big situation in just the first inning. As we mentioned, the bases are full of Pirates here in the bottom of the first. 2 outs. Jacob Bernardi at the plate. Bernardi checking on the catcher Juarez, trying to make sure that he's okay, and it looks like he is, as he is finally getting back in his set position. Now the home plate umpire will check on him. So we are ready. And it's 0-2 here for Bernardi still, with the bases loaded. On third is Escobar, on second Reynoso, and on first A.J. David. Breaking ball in the dirt, swung on and missed, gets away from the catcher. So there's going to have to be a throw down to first base, and the throw was not made in time. It got well away from the catcher, as it was about a 57-footer in the dirt, and it hit off his protective gear, but time's being called for Kevin Bowler. And Kevin Bowler is probably going to argue that he thinks that maybe Jacob Bernardi may have touched that ball and sort of kicked it away. So we'll see what happens here between Bowler and the home plate umpires. Now he's going to go down to second base and ask for some help to see if it might have been kicked away by Bernardi. If it's not kicked away, a run scores here for the Pirates, and they lead 1-0 on a strikeout, which is a very weird way to take a lead in the first inning. And it's also very weird and strange because that would mean that's Byer's 3rd strikeout in the first inning. And he would have given up a run on an actual strikeout. We have a little bit of a conference to the left side of the pitcher's mound with the 2 umpires. They are going to try to decipher whether or not the ball may have been touched by Bernardi, who's now standing on first base. Everybody moved up a station. The question is whether or not this will stand, as Kevin Bowler anxiously awaits in the batter's box with his hands on his hips. We have a decision now, and they're going to come and relay the message over to Coach Bowler. It looks like it's going to stand. I'm not sure if either umpire saw it or noticed exactly what happened, but like I said, the ball did shoot away far from Johnny Juarez, and it didn't seem like that was a type of roll that it might, you might get off a chest protector, but it's going to stand. So a run is scored here in the bottom of the first inning. It's now 1-0 as a run scores on a wild pitch here for the Pirates. Here comes Nathan Virgin. Nathan Virgin, the right fielder. Of course, his brother Anthony also on this team. First pitch to him, a breaking ball in the inside corner, called strike one. So, believe it or not, Micah Byer actually has 3 strikeouts here in the first inning, but he's still not out of the inning yet, as his team trails 1-0 to the Pirates. He comes set in the stretch, fastball high, ball 1, and it's 1-1 to Virgin. Of course, Nathan Virgin coming up with that big 2-out hit in the bottom of the 9th inning a few days ago, actually on Tuesday, to tie up the game against the East LA Dodgers. Swings and misses at this off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2. Of course, the Pirates wanted to finish that game out. There was still an hour of daylight, but East LA decided no. They were done with the 9 innings played, so they walked off the field, and we didn't get to finish that game, so it ends up a tie. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball swung, driven to the left side over towards Gerardo Ramirez. Ramirez firing the short way over to second and gets the force out of Jacob Bernardi. Casares making the catch over there. So that'll do it for the first inning. But at the end of 1 inning, the Pirates take a 1-0 lead. You're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back to Scalinos Field. We're on the campus of Cal Poly Pomona, of course, here, the home field of both the Pirates and Buccaneers for this season in the SCCBL. We have a scoring update to give you right here as Team San Diego leads 11-5 in the 7th inning against the High Desert Heat out in San Diego. First pitch swung on by Anthony Rapito and fouled out of play down the first base line, and it's 0-1 to him. Of course, that is another SCCBL matchup. Mentioned at the top of the broadcast that the team split out there in San Diego yesterday, playing another doubleheader here today. That is game 1 of 2 today. Fastball low and away from Ryan Romero, and it's 1-1 here to Anthony Rapito. Anthony Rapito, 6'0", 195 right-handed hitter. Swings at this one and fouls it once again out of play down the first base line, and it's 1-2 to Rapito. Rapito, a very talented hitter for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Of course, that's why he's in the cleanup spot for them. Headed to Orange Coast College next season. Hometown is Chino Hills and went to Iola High School. But he swings and misses at this breaking ball, and that is strike 3 in the first out here in the inning. So a strikeout there as the number 5 hitter, Jack Spahn, will now dig in and take his first at-bat of the day. Jack Spahn, the right-handed hitter, playing first base, hitting .333 so far in the young season for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. That one misses high and in, and it's 1-0. Of course, .333 means he's 1 for every 3. Fastball swung, towering fly ball to shallow left field, and actually it might be made, the catch is made 1 foot on the outfield grass by the shortstop Fernando Escobar for the second out here in the top of the second inning. 1-0 to score. Pirates on top of the Buccaneers. The story of the first inning was Micah Byer actually had 3 strikeouts, but on his 3rd strikeout, it ends up being a wild pitch that bounces off the chest protector of Johnny Juarez and gets away from him, and they couldn't make the throw down to first base, so a run scores, called strike on the outside corner to Johnny Juarez, who is now up there at the plate. For the Buccaneers, 5'11", 190 pounds, plays for Mount Sac just down the road, bounces this one to the right side, a high chopper deep in the middle of the field, but Kyle Jackson has it under control, ranges to his right, and makes the play. And that'll do it here for the second inning. So at the end of 1.5 innings of play, it remains 1-0, Pirates on top. You're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back to Cal Poly Pomona. Dave Soberi on the play-by-play. We're heading to the bottom of the second inning. An SCCBL matchup between the Pirates and Buccaneers. Pirates on top 1-0 on a wild pitch. That was actually a strikeout and would have been the 3rd out of the inning back in the first. Byer doing a very good job to try to get out of a jam as this fastball makes it to the backstop, and it was outside, and it's 1-0. He did all he could do, but the pitch hit in the dirt. Juarez just couldn't get to it quickly enough, and he couldn't fire it down to first base in time to complete that strikeout and get out of the inning. Breaking ball high and in for ball 2 to Christian Kelly. 2-0 the count to the 6'0", 185-pound right-handed hitter. Of course, Kelly is very well known for his defensive prowess, being a very, very solid defensive catcher, as this one's outside for a ball. Got the chance to interview him earlier this year. Says he's really working on the bat on this summer. Well, so far this summer, he's hitting .406, so he's doing a pretty good job of that. It's 3-0. Fastball high, and that'll be a 4-pitch walk drawn by the leadoff hitter in this inning, Christian Kelly. So the Pirates have a man on board here with the number 9 hitter in the lineup, George Ortega, to come. You don't see George Ortega, or a designated hitter for that matter, kind of batting ninth in the lineup too often. Ortega, 5'10", 190, right-handed hitter, has a lot of power. Ortega, of course, coming from Lewis and Clark University. Byer comes set in the stretch, checks the runner at first, fires home. This one is a breaking pitch that misses high for ball 1, 1-0 the count. So the leadoff hitter, Escobar, is on deck for the Pirates, who lead 1-0 here in the bottom of the second inning. Ortega, of course, winning an NAIA World Series with Lewis and Clark back in May, the end of May. In fact, he had won it just a day before the first game of the Pirates had to play. And then he was there on Saturday. They won it on Thursday of that week. And I believe it was the 31st, May 31st, opening day. He was here at Cal Poly Pomona to play these Buccaneers. A couple pickoff throws over to first base by Byer, trying to keep Christian Kelly on his toes, keep him honest. Normally a catcher, not the most fleet of foot, so it's interesting that he's kind of concerned with Kelly over there, who has a very, very slender lead, by the way, as well, over at first base. He's off with the pitch, though. Hit and run, swung on and missed. Throw down to second is in time. So Juarez guns out Kelly. So maybe the manager for the Bucs knew the Pirates wanted to try to run there, as the pitch was basically a pitch out, well out of the zone, swung on and missed by Ortega, and then throwing it down was Juarez to second base. Casares making the tag. So Kelly is caught stealing there. That'll be the first out here in the bottom of the second inning, as the Bucs dugout was very jovial about that gun down over at second base. This one swung on. One hopper over to the third baseman, Ramirez, who takes a couple steps to his right, backhands in and fires across the diamond for the second out here in the bottom of the second inning. So 5-3 on that put out if you're scoring at home. And here comes the top of the lineup for the Pirates, and Fernando Escobar, the left-handed hitter. If you recall, back in his first plate appearance, he saw one pitch, the first pitch of the game, that actually hit him on that right foot. Escobar, of course, from San Francisco State. Was a regular for them this past season, playing 40 games, takes the low and inside for ball 1, so it's 1-0 to number 1, who also hits first in the lineup. Put up very, very good numbers at Fullerton College before going to San Francisco State last year, as this one misses a high and away, and it's 2-0 to Escobar. His sophomore year is an honorable mention all-conference selection at Fullerton College. In 28 games, he hit .318. Well, he's one-upping that here this summer, as this one misses outside, and it's 3-0. Really nothing close to the zone for Escobar to swing his stick at. But this summer, he's .367, so it's a pretty good reason why you're the leadoff hitter for the Pirates. Here's the 3-0 offering. Fastball right down Broadway. Taking all the way was Escobar, and it's 3-1 to him now. So now Escobar might be looking for another fastball to come to him. Maybe he's trying to sit dead red and take a big hack at it here. Big gap out there in right center field for a left-handed hitter, but the breaking pitch misses low in the dirt, and that's a 5-pitch walk drawn by Escobar. So Escobar reaches for the second time here in 2 innings. One was a hit by pitch, which he ended up scoring the game's only run, and the other, this walk right here, a 5-pitch walk. But that's exactly what you got to do if you're the leadoff hitter. Find a way to get on base any way possible, and you let the big guys in the middle of the lineup hit you in. Here comes Johnny Reynoso. He is 1 for 1 with a single to the left side, as this one misses inside. It was a fastball, and it's 1-0. It was actually a hit and run, and he hit it towards the left side. Gerardo Ramirez, the third baseman, tried making a diving grab. Kind of hit off the edge of his glove. He couldn't make the play, as this breaking pitch misses outside, and it's 2-0 to Johnny. Johnny Reynoso, of course, the son of the manager, Charlie Reynoso, and his brother Aaron also on the team. And his cousin Matthew also on the team as well, so a family affair for the Reynosos. Pickoff throw over to first. Escobar doesn't even get down on the ground. You mentioned Escobar. He is very, very quick, very fast over there on the base pass. So as an opposing pitcher, you definitely have to be aware of exactly what he's doing and where he is. Here's the pitch from Bayer. This one's swung on and driven through the right side. Catching it deep in the hole is Casares, and he'll make the throw over to Jack Spahn for the final out of the inning. So that'll do it for the second inning. The Pirates retain that 1-0 lead over the Buccaneers. You're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back to Scalino's Field. So glad you could join us here on a Saturday doubleheader in league play in the SCCBL. 1-0 score, top of the third inning. Pirates on top of the Bucks. Of course, the Pirates coming in 2-2 in league play. Bucks 2-6. So really a very big doubleheader for both teams. For the Bucks, they really want to try to get back into contention. And for the Pirates, they want to get towards the top half of the league. Here's the pitch from Romero. This one misses high and in for ball one to Gerardo Ramirez, the third baseman. And it's 1-0. It's 1-0. Ryan Romero, one of the few players here for the Pirates, as this one's in there for strike one, 1-1 the count. That is not from the Southern California area. His hometown is Nampa, Idaho. Went to Columbia High School there. As this one swung on and missed, and it's 1-2. And in Idaho, he was the 4A Southern Idaho Conference Player of the Year his senior year in high school. Spent 3 seasons at San Francisco State. Called strike 3 on the inside corner. So down goes Ramirez, who kind of shook his head and didn't like the call, staring back at the umpire and now walking back to the third base dugout. But it is a strikeout here for the Buccaneers, and Ryan Romero has been working very, very well here in 2 1/3 innings pitched so far. Only one runner. The one runner was actually a hit batter. This one swung on, driven to the right side. One hopper over to the second baseman, Kyle Jackson, who hadn't played perfectly. And he makes the throw to first to retire Tanner Thibodeau. So that's the second out here. One pitch at bat for Thibodeau. Thibodeau is another guy here that actually is not from the Southern California area. And he was actually coming to Southern California to rehab his actually 2 broken wrists. So he's just happy to be throwing again. Here comes Mbusi Latchwayo. He swings at the first pitch and fouls it out of play down the third base line. So it's 0-1 to the number 9 hitter in the lineup for the Buccaneers. Romero, late kick and pitch. This one swung on off the edge of the bat, and it's 0-2. Of course, Romero, before San Francisco State, went to Fullerton College, where he was the state runner-up. This one is a fastball, and it misses low to Mbusi/Wayo. Ryan Romero, that season, had 13 appearances, was a very good reliever for them, as this one misses inside, and it's now 2-2 to Latchwayo. Had a 3.82 ERA, tossed 32 innings for them. That's sophomore year of his. Fastball low, and it's 3-2. So Latchwayo, we talk about it so often as a number 9 hitter. Often as a number 9 hitter, you're an extension of a leadoff hitter. And Latchwayo falls behind 0-2 and now runs the count up to 3-2. Seeing a lot of pitches, but swings and misses at this one, and that is strike 3. So 2 strikeouts in the inning here for Romero, 3 altogether. And at the end of 2.5 innings, the score remains 1-0, Pirates on top. You're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. To the bottom of 3 we go. 1-0 the score. Pirates on top of the Bucks. Andrew Alvarez stepping up to the plate. So 3-4-5 in the lineup here for the Pirates. The heart of the lineup to come. Looking to maybe extend that lead if they can against Micah Bayer, who's done a very, very good job against this very talented Pirates offense so far in his first 2 innings. As Alvarez steps out of the batter's box, Bayer was taking a lot of time on the mound. We mentioned Bayer goes from the stretch no matter what, even though there's nobody on base right now. Fastball painting the outside corner, and it's 0-1. If you remember, last time Andrew Alvarez came up against Bayer went ahead 0-2. This time, once again, getting ahead 0-1 now here. Alvarez was one of 3 strikeouts Bayer had in the first inning, breaking ball in the dirt, and it's 1-1. course, the strikeout of Jacob Bernardi ended up being a wild pitch where Fernando Escobar scored from third, and that is the only run of the game. This pitch swung on and missed. Well out in front of that was Andrew Alvarez on the off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2 here. We talked about Alvarez just being a very great all-around player, both hitting and pitching-wise. There's the pitch from Baer, fastball way outside, and it's 2-2. Well, Alvarez started his career at Pepperdine, but they only wanted him to pitch there. So then he transferred to Orange Coast College, where he won a junior collegiate state championship. As this breaking ball swung, driven down the left field line, foul. Maybe a foot foul. Very close to a double for Alvarez. But he'll get back in there and work another 2-2 count. And after proving himself at that junior collegiate level and being a big reason why OCC won that state championship, he earned the scholarship to Houston Baptist, and they will allow him to do both things that he loves doing, which is hit and pitch. Time called for as Alvarez steps out of the batter's box. If you recall, somebody who did that actually at the collegiate level who actually pitched yesterday for the Dodgers was Dan Herron, who did that for Pepperdine, which is where Alvarez originally went. He was the designated hitter and a pitcher for them when he played in college. Very, very good hitting pitcher nonetheless, even in the pros, was Herron. And if you saw the Dodger game last night, that was a tough one if you're a Dodger fan. Had the 5-3 lead going in the ninth with Jansen on the mound. Give up 3 runs and lose the game. This one swung on, driven to the right side over to Casares, the second baseman, who fires to first for the first out of the inning. Routine play there. So that's actually 2 consecutive putouts for Casares, getting 2 ground balls the last 2 batters. Johnny Reynoso hit the ground ball to end the second inning. And now Alvarez hitting the ground ball to start off the first inning. Here comes A.J. David, another very, very talented hitter in this Pirates lineup. This past season at San Bernardino Valley put up ridiculous numbers. In fact, was number 2 in the state in total RBIs, as this off-speed pitch misses outside and is for ball 1. He had 43 RBIs, which was, as we mentioned, second in the state for San Bernardino Valley. His numbers were just ridiculous, really both years. In fact, you could argue his freshman year was almost more incredible than his sophomore year, as this one's on the inside, called strike 1, and it's 1-1. His freshman year, he hit .386, .443 on base percentage. And then his sophomore year, all he did was .327 and .410. Obviously very, very good. This one swung on. High fly ball to deep right field, ranging over towards the line, and now camping underneath it and making the grab is Anthony Rapito for the second out of the inning. So Micah Bayer doing a very good job so far in the first 3 innings against this Pirate lineup as Kyle Jackson steps up to the plate. Kyle Jackson 0 for 1. Actually came up with bases loaded and 1 out back in the first inning and struck out. He's a very, very good hitter, another very good hitter for these Pirates, as this one misses high and in, and it's 1-0. Kyle Jackson is still recovering from an injury as well. We mentioned Thibodeau was doing that. This one swung on and driven towards the right field line, but foul. And the injury that Kyle Jackson is recovering from is a broken hand earlier in the year. So a very, actually, kind of similar injury to Thibodeau's for the Bucks, which was a couple broken wrists. He broke both of his wrists in high school. 1-1. Here comes the pitch. Swung on. High fly ball in the infield. Calling for it is Casares. So Casares makes a couple outs here in this inning. 1 on a grounder and now 1 on the fly out. And that'll do it for the third. And at the end of 3 full innings of play, the score remains 1-0. Pirates on top. You're on InlandValleyBaseball.com. Well, we're moving along very quickly if you consider that the game didn't start until 2:08, and now we are here in the top of the 4th inning, 1-0 the score, Pirates on top of the Buccaneers. And the reason it's been such a quick inning is we've been having a pitcher's duel so far between Ryan Romero and Micah Bayer. Very, very few base runners. As Romero, working out of the windup, fires a breaking ball in at the knees, called strike one to the leadoff hitter, Miles Ryan. Ryan 0 for 1, grounded out to the shortstop, Escobar. Very first batter of the game, of course. Hit it very hard over towards the left side hole. And once again, going over to that left side hole, Escobar had him played perfectly. Nice dig over at first by David to complete the out. And that'll be another 6-3 ground out here to open the fourth inning for Miles Ryan. But if you recall, he hit an even probably better one in the first inning that Escobar had to make a backhanded grab deep in the hole. Fired an absolute laser over to first to retire him. And now here it looked like he was shading once again over towards the hole. He was played perfectly, as this is called a strike on the outside corner, to Casares, who's been very busy in the field at second base today. And it's 0-1 to him. This one swung on. Chopper over towards the shortstop, Escobar. Escobar fields cleanly. Another dig over there at first by David. And another 6-3 put out there for the Pirates. As Ryan Romero has been very, very strong here for the Pirates, to say the least. Only one base runner, and that one base runner was hit by a pitch. Here comes Kevin Riley. Riley 0 for 1, swings at the first pitch. You see the line drive to dead center field. Now moving about 5 feet over to his right and making the catch is Jacob Bernardi. And that'll do it for the fourth inning as the side is retired once again. In fact, now all of a sudden we have 7 consecutive hitters retired here by Ryan Romero as the Pirates continue to lead 1-0 over the Buccaneers. We're headed to the bottom of the fourth. And you're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Pirates and Buccaneers doing battle. 1-0 to score. Pirates on top. We just got word from San Diego that Team San Diego has won the first game of the doubleheader by a score of 11-4 over the High Desert Heat. So Team San Diego starting out very strong in SCCBL play, improves their record to 5-2 overall. Micah Byer remains on the mound for the Buccaneers. Fastball in the outside corner, called strike one to Jacob Bernardi. Bernardi is 0 for 1, struck out, but did reach base, if you remember, on the wild pitch that hit off the protective gear of Johnny Juarez. And then Fernando Escobar scored on that play. This one swung on and fouled, actually chopped foul, and bounced over the dugout. And it's 0-2 to Bernardi. Bernardi, of course, a Bronco here at Cal Poly Pomona, should feel very comfortable in that batter's box. Should number 14. Byer set, fires, fastball low and away, and it's 1-2. Jacob Bernardi would like to become a coach or work in marketing after his baseball days are over. Is a business administration major here, hoping to go about his business in the form of a hit. Breaking ball in the dirt, does a good job to hold up, showing some good plate discipline. And it's 2-2. On deck is Virgin. That is Nathan Virgin, who is 0 for 1. And in the hole, Christian Kelly. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Fastball swung on and missed, strike 3. So Micah Byer pitching very, very well for the Buccaneers here in the early going. That is his 4th strikeout in 3 1/3 innings pitched so far as Virgin steps up to the plate. Nathan Virgin will be headed to Cal State Monterey Bay, where he'll have 2 years of eligibility left. Right-handed hitter with a straight-up stance, now scoring around, and he lets the breaking ball go, but it's called to strike anyways, and it's 0-1. This past season at Citrus College in 36 games, hit .350 and had a .446 on-base percentage. Here's the pitch from Byers, swings at this one, and this is the roller over to the right side, and Casares, the sure-handed second baseman, fires the first for the second out. So Casares very, very involved in this game defensively. That is the 5th out he's been a part of, whether it be a fly ball or an assist over to first base here in the 4th inning. Here comes Christian Kelly, who walked and then was caught stealing in the second inning. Bayer comes set, fires, breaking ball, low, ball 1-0 the count. If you remember, because you might be thinking, well, wait, why is the catcher trying to steal? It was actually a hit and run that he was caught stealing on, and the pitch was well out of the zone. George Ortega did all he could do to kind of try to lunge and jump at it, but couldn't make contact with it when it was way outside. Speaking of way outside, this pitch is way outside, and that'll be a ball to Christian Kelly. Well, this is a very, very great outing for Micah Bayer, who came in with a 13.50 ERA before today for the Bucs. That's a nice off-speed pitch in at the knees for strike there. Christian Kelly steps out of the batter's box and kind of straddles in between the batter's box and foul territory. Now steps back in. Of course, Kelly originally went to UC Santa Barbara. Swings at this one, chops it down the third base line. Just foul, as there was a sigh over there in the first base dugout, thinking that Christian Kelly may have had a double down the line there. It's very, very close. Really hard to decipher or see exactly if it's fair or foul because there's no chalk down the left field or right field line. So whenever you see a ball hit down the line, it's hard to say whether or not, exactly where it was. But Charlie Reynoso looks like he's pretty convinced that it was fair. This one's a fastball swung on and missed, and that is strike 3. And that is the 5th strikeout here for Micah Bayer in 4 innings of work. And at the end of 4, it remains 1-0 Pirates on top of the Buccaneers. You're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back as we continue to move along rapidly here from Cal Poly Pomona today. 1-0 the score, Pirates on top of the Buccaneers. As Anthony Rabito steps up to the plate, the cleanup hitter in the lineup, 0 for 1 with a strikeout here today. So we'll go 4, 5, 6, and 5 is Spawn, and 6 is Juarez for the Buccaneers. Ryan Romero remains on the bump. Fires, fastball swung on, lined up the middle, over towards Kyle Jackson, who backhands it and fires over to first for the first out of the inning. So that is now 8 consecutive hitters retired by Ryan Romero. Only 1 base runner, and he reached on a hit-by pitch. So that is how good of a performance Ryan Romero has been having so far here today. Here comes Jack Spawn. Spawn 0 for 1, flew out to the shortstop. Escobar takes a breaking ball on the outside, and it's 0-1. Ryan Romero fires. This one low and away. Lists his favorite team as the Dodgers and favorite pitcher as Nolan Ryan. Here's the pitch from the large 6'5" righty. This one's swung, and this one's driven straight back up the middle, and that is the first base hit of the day for the Buccaneers. So there goes the no-hitter and the streak of 8 consecutive hitters retired by Romero, as the Buccaneers now look to get a little bit of momentum and a rally here in the 5th inning. Of course, this is the first of 2. Both games of the doubleheader will be SCCBL matchups. The previous 3 games did not count on the league standings. They counted on the overall standings. But they were kind of warm-up games to some extent in the fact that they were not actually official SCCBL games. Ryan Romero working at a stretch for the first time in a long time, as he had a streak of 8 consecutive batters retired, just come to a finish right there on the single by Jack Spawn, who lined it straight up the middle. Fastball swung, towering fly ball to shallow center field, so shallow that the second baseman, Kyle Jackson, will make the grab about 2 feet back on the outfield grass for the second out here. So Kyle Jackson involved with both outs so far in the top of the 5th inning. Leadoff hitter, of course, grounding out to him. That was Anthony Rabito, who struck it very, very hard. And initially off the bat, I thought it might be up the middle. Once again, Kyle Jackson kind of playing a little bit up the middle on him. Knew, I guess, the scouting report, and then backhanded it and threw to first and retired him, and then making that fly ball catch, as this is an off-speed pitch in there for strike 1, and it's 0-1 to Gerardo Ramirez. Gerardo Ramirez, of course, from Diamond Bar High School, where he'll be a senior next year, playing for Coach Kevin Bowler over there, not too far from Cal Poly Pomona, as we'll have a pickoff throw over to first base. Gerardo Ramirez, another guy who gets it done with the bat and also pitches. 5'10", 210. Takes this one on the outside corner. It was a fastball, and now it's a 2-strike pitch, so he's going to have to protect. Put up ridiculous numbers at Diamond Bar. 27 games, 364 average, 280 ERA, 9-2 record, 5 complete games. Another pickoff throw over to first, not in time. In fact, Jack Spawn hasn't even slid head first into first base, either of the 2 times that Romero went over there. Romero now set at the shoulder level, fires home, fastball high for a ball 1, and it's 1-2. Also, as a pitcher for Diamond Bar, he struck out 64 in 65 innings, so pretty much a strikeout per inning for Ramirez. As we have another pickoff attempt. Another very hot day in Pomona, but another nice day in Pomona, as this one misses outside. Christian Kelly set up on the outside corner and tried framing it, but the home plate umpire wouldn't bite. And it's 2-2. On deck is Tanner Thibodeau, the designated hitter. This one swung on and driven up mile high behind home plate. Running down it is Christian Kelly, who makes the catch right in front of the fence, and literally maybe about a foot away from where I'm set up, about 3 feet off-centered from home plate, as we get actually a big gust of dirt here, as Christian Kelly really hustled and ran that one down. And that'll do it for the top of the 5th inning. The Buccaneers do get their first hit, but then the next couple batters are retired, and they remain behind 1-0 against the Pirates, as we'll head to the bottom of the 5th. And welcome back to Cal Poly Pomona as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. It's been a pitcher's duel so far between Micah Beyer and Ryan Romero, as Beyer comes set in the stretch going against the number 9 hitter in the lineup, George Ortega. Breaking pitch in there for called strike 1, and it's 0-1. The only run scored on a bases-loaded strikeout, actually, that got away from the catcher, Johnny Juarez. This pitch swung on. It's a high, towering fly ball to left field, but now running in and making the grab out there in left field. I believe that is a new player in there for the Buccaneers. We'll figure out exactly who that is really quickly for you, as that's the first out of the inning. That's Richie Chavez now out there in left field, who is replacing Miles Ryan. So that's the first out nonetheless. And up comes the top of the lineup, Fernando Escobar. Swings at the first pitch he sees and fouls it down the first base line. Of course, Escobar has actually reached base both times. Once he was hit by a pitch and once he walked. But we talked about how this is a pitcher's duel. There's only been 1 hit for each team so far. Beyer comes set in the stretch. Fires the 0-1. This one swung on and chopped to the right side over to the new second baseman, Michael Smith, who fires across to first base for the second out. So down goes Escobar for the first time of the day, as we have Michael Smith in at second. Let's see, do we have any other replacements out there? Not at third, not at catcher, and not at short. So everybody else seems to be the same. And Mbusi is still in center field. And can't quite make out if there's anybody new in right field. So the only changes so far that we can see is Chavez in left and Smith in second. I believe Rubito is still in right, though. Breaking pitch in the dirt, ball 1 to Espinosa. So speaking of new players, here comes Espinosa in for Johnny Reynoso. Greg Espinosa, of course, headed to Houston Baptist, squaring around and now bringing it back on a pitch that misses outside for a ball. Greg was a member of these Pirates last season. 5'10", 165-pound right-handed hitter who played on that Orange Coast College team that won the state junior collegiate championship. As this pitch misses low and away for a ball. With the man on deck, Andrew Alvarez, who he's also going to Houston Baptist with. In fact, Greg Espinosa was the man who basically made the sales pitch to Alvarez to be on this team. When I asked how did he hear about the team, he said it was his buddy, Greg Espinosa. This fastball misses way out of the zone, and that is ball 4. So Espinosa reaches base, and the first base runner in a long time for the Pirates. In fact, that was a streak of 9 consecutive retired by Micah before that walk. That just ended. So he actually went through the entire lineup. Retired the entire lineup here. Pirates hoping for a 2-out rally as the heart of the lineup comes up. Andrew Alvarez at the plate. Andrew Alvarez digging in. Bauer fires. Breaking pitch swung on. Hit off the edge of the bat towards the shortstop, Riley. Riley fires across, but not in time. And I guess you're going to roll that in the infield single there because there was no error. It was a slow roller to the left side. Deep in the hole was Riley. Actually, Gerardo Ramirez was trying to cut it off but couldn't get there in time. And then Alvarez beating it out down the line. The throw was a little bit off, but it looked like Alvarez might have beat it in and out anyways, as he's smiling over towards Kyle Jackson, who is now on deck. Up at bat is A.J. David. So the Pirates hoping for a 2-out rally right here. 2-out rallies have kind of plagued the Buccaneers in the early season. If you recall, when they played the High Desert Heat, in the one game they lost to the Heat, Heat scored all 5 runs in the same inning with 2 outs, and it was all after an error, so they were all unearned in that game. Final score was 5-4. As this one misses low, it was an off-speed pitch, and it's 1-0. Well, A.J. David, of course, is another very, very great performer here on the Pirates. And we were mentioning how he is headed to Cal Baptist next season after putting up incredible numbers at San Bernardino Valley. This one misses inside, and it's 2-0. He was a first-team all-conference selection for them, first-team all-state, first-team all-Western regional. So a lot of accolades individually for A.J. David, but he was also very thrilled to win the conference title for San Bernardino Valley College. And that's another thing he wants to do here this summer, is to hoist up an SCCBL crown. Mentioned nobody has been able to do that in 5 years other than the Palm Springs Power. Of course, the Pirates have split with the Power so far in this season, as we have a conference at the mound, as Johnny Juarez and the pitching coach, Coach Smith, are now meeting Micah Bauer. Bauer, of course, we mentioned, had the 9 consecutive hitters retired just come to an end. And then all of a sudden, 2 men reach base with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 1-0 the score. Pirates on top of the Buccaneers, as Coach Smith actually kind of pointed towards the bullpen, but Bauer will remain on the mound. In the bullpen, there is somebody warming up. It looks like that is Nathaniel Acosta. Acosta had a game-winning hit for the Buccaneers against the Legends. Breaking pitch on the outside corner, called strike. That game we, of course, had on our air as the Buccaneers lost the lead in the 8th inning, and then they won it in the 9th. Here's the pitch from Bauer. Fastball high and away, and that's ball 3, 3-1 the count. Here to A.J. David, so you want to be very, very careful in this situation if you're Bauer, because A.J. David is one of the best hitters you will see in this lead with a hitter's pitch to come. Here comes the 3-1 offering. Runners go. This one swung on and bounced foul down the first base line, so it's a full count here. Interesting that the runners were going. Of course, both the runners played for Orange Coast College this past season, and both will be at Houston Baptist next season. Greg Espinosa and Andrew Alvarez are the 2 on base. Espinosa reaching on the walk, and then Alvarez reaching on the ball that he hit to the left side of the infield, but they couldn't make the throw over to first base in time. Runners off again on a full count, as this pitch misses high and away for ball 4. And all of a sudden, the bases are loaded here for the Pirates, and now the manager, Kevin Bowler, is coming out to make a pitching change with the bases loaded. So that's a tough situation right there for Micah Bauer, who really, as we mentioned, was pitching phenomenally, especially against this lineup. we said a couple of times that he had retired 9 consecutive hitters, which is the entire lineup in a row, and then also had a number of strikeouts as well. In fact, he had 3 strikeouts back in the first inning. As we will have a new pitcher here, and actually that's not Nathaniel Acosta, that is Jacob Cage, I believe, here for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Yes, that is Cage, who actually had a very, very good performance against the Palm Springs Power in his first outing. In fact, the Buccaneers really challenged the Power. Only fell 4-3 to them, and he was the starter for that game that went 5 innings. When he came out, it was 3-1. Buccaneers on top. And the Power came back with 3 runs. Actually, they came back with 1 in the 5th, so it was 3-2 when he went out. And then they came back with 2 in the 6th, and the Power held on to that 4-3 lead, ended up winning that game 4-3. And then, of course, in Game 2, it was a lot tougher for the Buccaneers, who lost 10-0. But Jacob Cage looks like a very, very good pitcher for the Buccaneers. We were told by manager Kevin Bowler that he wouldn't really probably go that much today, maybe a couple innings, because after going 5 innings on Wednesday, you kind of just want to give him more of a glorified kind of bullpen workout here, which would be 2 innings for Cage. But we'll see what happens, especially in a 1-0 game. Kevin Bowler really, really wants to try to steal one against the Pirates if he can. Jacob Cage, 6'2", 200-pound, right-handed pitcher for the Buccaneers, is working on the mound right now, warming up with Kyle Jackson on deck. Cage pitches at Azusa Pacific, and at Azusa Pacific put up very, very good numbers as a sophomore. In 98 innings, he had 71 strikeouts to only 17 walks. So, I mean, that strikeout to walk ratio is phenomenal for Mr. Cage. And also was 8-3 and was their #1 pitcher back his sophomore year. His freshman year, he was 7-6 at a 3.47 ERA. 85 innings, 64 strikeouts, and 5 complete games as a freshman. That is very, very impressive. I think the 5 complete games might be the most impressive, so you know that this guy can really go long, can Jacob Cage. As Kyle Jackson steps up to the plate here, Jackson 0 for 2, struck out in the first and flew out to second. His counterpart over there at second, Casares, back in the 4th inning. Of course, Casares actually came out for Michael Smith. Michael Smith, who was the defensive replacement for the Buccaneers here in this inning. As we are ready to resume play with Jacob Cage on the mound, working out of the windup with the bases loaded. First pitch in there, called strike 1, and it's 0-1 to Kyle Jackson. Well, if you recall, Kyle Jackson was up the last time he was up, or actually back in the first inning, he had the bases loaded as well and struck out. Here's the pitch. Swan driven straight back up the middle, and that it will be a base hit. In comes Espinoza, and his teammate from Houston Baptist is rounding third and coming home to score, and it's now 3-0 as we have a throw over into second base to try to get A.J. David, and it actually got past Michael Smith and into center field, but they could not advance. So it's 3-0 now Pirates all of a sudden as Kyle Jackson comes through in the clutch with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning and the bases loaded. So Espinosa and Alvarez, of course, scoring on that play as David heads to second, and Jackson on safely at first base with that 2-run single. Pirates up 3-0 as Jacob Bernardi takes strike 1 on the inside, and it's 0-1. So both of those runs will be charged to Micah Beyer, which is really tough for him because he really came out and pitched a great game in 4 2/3 innings for the Bucks. Cage takes a quick look at second and now fires home. This one missed low, and it's 1-1 to Bernardi. Well, 3-0 the score. Bottom of the 5th inning. 2 outs, 2 men on. A.J. David bluffing over at second base, but Cage doesn't bite. He just comes home and fires a strike, and it's 1-2. Cage now taking a long look over at his second baseman, Michael Smith, to make sure that he's aware and that maybe he's going to try to cover second base in case A.J. David gets that far off again. But once again, nobody really covering over there, neither the shortstop nor the second baseman. And this one swung on a miss, and that's strike 3. So down goes Bernardi. But the damage was done on a bases-loaded 2-run single by Kyle Jackson to extend the lead to 3-0 here for the Pirates at the end of 5. You're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back to the top of 6. We go 3-0 the score. Pirates on top of the Buccaneers after a 2-run 5th inning on a bases-loaded 2-out single by Kyle Jackson that scored 2 runs. Of course, the first run came in the first inning on the pitch that bounced in the dirt off Johnny Juarez, and in came Escobar on the wild pitch. First pitch in there for strike 1 at the knees to Tanner Thibodeau, as the new pitcher is Jordan Sheffs. Big right-handed pitcher, 6'2", 185 pounds. Breaking pitch in there, and it's 0-2. This is the first appearance for Jordan Sheffs on this summer. He just came back from Omaha, where he plays for the UC Irvine Anteaters. Made the trip out to Nebraska. This one swung on and bounced over to the right side. Making a glove catch is David, and he fires over to Sheffs, who covers for the first out. That was hit very, very hard, actually. Chopped hard by Thibodeau to the right side. And David retreating a little bit, making the backhanded grab. And then slinging it over to the first base and the pitcher, Jordan Sheffs. Jordan Sheffs put up some very impressive numbers as this one was laid down by Diego Cortez. Sheffs barehands it and fires over first. So just like that, 2 plays made by Sheffs here in his first 2 outs. One he covers first base, the other he barehands and throws and takes out Diego Cortez. Cortez, that was his first at bat here for the Inland Valley Buccaneers in this game, as we have another new hitter in Chavez at the plate. Chavez takes low for ball 1. 1-0 the count here. Well, as we were mentioning, Jordan Sheffs did very well at University High School, as this one's called strike 1 and it's 1-1. At University High School, he was the MVP of his Pacific Coast League, and he was the only uni player ever, as this one misses low for ball 2, 2-1, to be an all-CIF selection all 3 years. He holds the school records for strikeouts, innings, and wins. Here's the pitch. Fastball swung and bounced to the right side over at Kyle Jackson. Kyle Jackson fields cleanly and fires over to A.J. David, who had a pretty busy inning, completing all 3 outs there. And that'll do it for the top of the 6th inning. So a very good first outing there for Jordan Sheffs, as at the end of 5.5 innings, the Pirates remain on top, 3-0. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. 3-0 the score. Pirates on top of the Buccaneers. Dave Sobera in the play-by-play. So glad you could join us from wherever you may be on this Saturday afternoon. We have a double-header here today between the Pirates and Buccaneers, as the home plate umpire will dust off home plate and allow us to get a better look at that plate. Looks like Trask is warming up in the bullpen down the third base line for the Buccaneers, as Jacob Cage remains on the mound. We said that he figured to only probably get about 2 innings of work here today, late kicking the pitch. And that's in the knees, called strike 1, and it's 0-1 to Nathan Inversion, who is 0 for 2 here today. A couple of groundouts. Both actually one to third base and one to second base, as this one is swung on and missed. Well out in front of it was Version on the off-speed pitch. Of course, Nathan is the younger brother to Anthony, about 11 months younger than Anthony. Here's the pitch. Breaking pitch in the dirt for a ball. Anthony Seminaris is now at shortstop for the Buccaneers. Here's the pitch from Cage. This one swung on and fouled out of play down the first base line. And actually shifting over to third base is Riley, who started the game at short and now is at third in for Gerardo Ramirez. Chavez is in right field for Rabito. This one swung on, and this is lined into right field right at Chavez as Virgin has a base hit. And that shouldn't have come to a surprise if you heard what we said his batting average was before his first at-bat in this game. His batting average coming into today, .333, and here he is, 1 for 3 today, so it's still .333. Here comes Christian Kelly. The catcher, 0 for 1, struck out in the fourth and walked in the second. Virgin takes his lead off first, and this is a off-speed pitch in there for strike one, and then it's 0-1 to Kelly. Christian Kelly, of course, initially going to UC Santa Barbara, where he redshirted his freshman year before coming here to Cal Poly Pomona. Pickoff attempt over to first and getting dirty as Virgin. He really loves playing on this field. Here's the pitch as the runner's off, and this one's low and away, and the throw comes down to second. Sliding head first and safe is Virgin. So Virgin seemed like he was sliding forever. Seemed like he maybe took a slid a little bit early. And it also seemed like the throw was down there at second. But I guess the tag was not applied by Michael Smith in time. Virgin, if you recall, he had that game-tying hit against the East LA Dodgers in the second game of a doubleheader. Tied it at 2 apiece, and he stole second base then as well. Got himself in scoring position, but Jacob Bernardi ended up striking out, and then the game was not finished, or I guess you could say it was finished, but it was called the tie. Of course, we talked about it, but the Pirates did want to finish that game, and the Dodgers had other thoughts in mind, and that's why the game finished, as this one's called strike 2, so Kelly will have to protect the plate here with a runner in scoring position. Cage steps off the mound. Virgin kind of playing with him a little bit at second, springing off the bag. Ortega remains on deck, number 9 in the lineup. Here's the pitch. This one swung on and hit over towards the left side, and Kevin Riley. Riley fires across the diamond and records the out there. So 5-3. We mentioned Kevin Riley actually started at shortstop and now moved over to third base as Anthony Seminares came in. We also have another replacement in the outfield to update you with, as Chavez originally came in left field for 1 inning, and now he shifts over to right field. And then in comes Luke Asperger. He is now in left field for the Buccaneers. Runner goes, that's Virgin, and he is going to steal safely third base. The catcher, Juarez, kind of got ahead of himself, and before you can throw it down to third base, you have to make the catch, and that's not what he did there, as Virgin now gets 2 stolen bags here and is now 90 feet away from increasing this lead to a 4-run game. Cage fires. This one misses low and away to George Ortega. George Ortega, of course, packs a lot of power for the Pirates. We saw him last season, one of 17 returning members of this Pirate team, as the infield has now come in to stop this run from coming in. Buccaneers trailing by 3-0 the score here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Very few hits, and it's been a very well-pitched game for the most part. Here's the pitch from Cage, and this is low and away, and that is ball 4. So Ortega draws the walk and remains 0 for 2 on the day, but does reach on that walk here as Fernando Escobar, the leadoff hitter, comes up to the plate. So now you got to think that with 1 out in the inning, and this is exactly what's going to happen, corner infielders are going to remain on the infield grass, and the middle infielders are going to play in double play depth to try to get that double play to end the inning. Fastball, called a strike to Escobar, and it's 0-1. Of course, it's going to be a hard go at it if you try to make a double play on Fernando Escobar. Very, very fast is number 1. Cage checks the runner at first, fires. This is the line drive up the middle, and that is a tailor-made double play. 6-4-3 double play. It was a one-hopper over to the shortstop, Seminares, and he had to basically just flip it over to the second baseman, Smith, who completes the double play. And so the Buccaneers get out of that mini jam, and they still trail 3-0 as we head to the top of the 7th inning. You're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back as we head to the top of the 7th inning. 3-0 the score. Pirates on top of the Buccaneers as we just got a change here, 25 for 3. This one misses low from Chefs, and it's 1-0. Well, 25 was actually already in. That was Michael Smith, who we mentioned had come in at second base, and it's now 2-0 to him. Jordan Chefs, the right-handed pitcher from UC Irvine, fires, and this one's called a strike, and it's now 2-1 here. We were talking about Jordan Chefs playing at the top level, really, with UC Irvine as a freshman. And making the trip out to Omaha. This is a fastball that misses low and away for ball 3, and it's 3-1. Kind of fell off the mound on that pitch as Jordan Chefs is working very quickly, taking no time. Fastball called strike 2. Michael Smith thought he had picked up a free pass and made it a step over towards the first base side, but he's going to have to get in there and face this full count offering. Working very quickly, another fastball swung on and fouled back towards the backstop is this pitch by Michael Smith. So we will see a 7th pitch of this at bat between Chefs and Smith. Smith, the youngest of 5, takes this one inside and does draw the walk, so he goes down there to first base safely. And the leadoff man's on board here in the top of the 7th inning for the Buccaneers. He's got some big shoes to fill. His 4 older siblings all playing collegiate sports, where Smith will be a high school and senior next year. His 2 sisters both playing soccer at Oklahoma State. And then his 2 brothers playing baseball collegiately. Here's Kevin Riley. He takes low for ball 1, and it's 1-0 to number 15. If you recall, of course, Kevin Riley shifting from short over to third in the last inning to make way for Anthony Seminaris. Riley is 0 for 2 on the day with a ground out and a fly out. Chefs fires over to first, not in time. Jordan Chefs, we mentioned how good he was at University High School. He held school records for strikeouts, innings, and wins there. Fastball swung and lined up the middle, trying to make a backhanded grab, and stopping it from going in the outfield over there is the second baseman for the Pirates, who has now come in. It's Jason Padlow, who comes in to replace Jackson. So Padlow ensuring that the runner didn't potentially go to third base in Michael Smith. That'll be an infield base hit for Kevin Riley. And to finish that story about Chefs, he had 87 strikeouts, which was the school record. So that was a lot of strikeouts in one season. And he plunks the hitter in the left shoulder. That is Luke Asperger, who just came in for his first at-bat. So now, all of a sudden, the bases are loaded here as Luke Asperger takes one for the team. He was replacing Anthony Rapito. He came in as the defensive replacement back in an inning or so ago. And now Charlie Reynoso is going to have a conference with Jordan Chefs and Christian Kelly. And I believe A.J. David, yes, the first baseman A.J. David is also joining in on this conference, as it's only 3-0 here and no outs, top of the 7th inning. A very big situation right here for the Buccaneers to try to get at least a couple runs across and maybe more, cut this deficit down. And you've got one of your big hitters at the plate right now, the number 5 hitter, Jack Spahn, who entered today .333, and he's 1 for 2, so he actually improved upon that .333 batting average so far. The single, lined it up the middle in his second at-bat. Here's a pitch from Chefs, and this one misses low and away, and that's ball 1, 1-0 the count. Well, Jack Spahn would love to take advantage here of a bases loaded, no outs opportunity, and he lines this one in the center field. Coming in on it, and it falls in front of Nolan Henley. He's firing down the home plate, and only one run will score, but it's now 3-1 on the RBI single by Jack Spahn. So Jack Spahn coming through in a clutch at-bat right there. We mentioned he is a very, very talented hitter for this Buccaneer team. And all of a sudden, the Buccaneers getting back in this game. It's 3-1. The bases remain loaded. Still no outs, top of the 7th inning. As Johnny Juarez will step up to the dish. Johnny Juarez is 0 for 2. Grounded out to second base and flew out to second base. So the new second baseman, Jason Padlow, might want to be ready here as this off-speed pitch misses low for ball 1, and it's 1-0 to Juarez. Time called for by Christian Kelly, who will go out and talk to his pitcher, Jordan Chefs. Johnny Juarez from not too far, Glendora, and went to Glendora High School. Corner infielders come in. Breaking pitch in the dirt, and it's 2-0. A lot of chatter coming from that third base dugout, the dugout of the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Here's the pitch from Chefs. This is grounded over to the third baseman, Espinosa. He fires home. They get the out there, and they get the out at first base. So we're going to have a 5-2-3 double play there. Big, big out right there. 2 outs right there for the Pirates. So there's 2 away here in the top of the 7th inning. 3-1 the score, Pirates on top of the Bucs. The Bucs have the game-tying run in scoring position at second base. That is Jack Spahn, who singled in the inning. As we get a change, this umpire is being very good about kind of, when he sees a change, yelling out the numbers. But once again, Anthony Seminaris was actually in the field in the last inning, so he had already come in. Fastball misses low, and it's 1-0 here to Seminaris. 5'10", 175-pound right-handed hitter from Fullerton College, where he redshirted this past season. Swings at this one and fouls it out of play down the first base line. So it'll be 1-1. Well, on third base right now is Kevin Riley, who's single. Actually, on third base right now is this one is Luke Asperger. Luke Asperger took one for the team, and Jack Spahn is on second. Here's the pitch. This one swung and lifted into shallow center field. Charging in and making the catch is Nolan Henley. So Nolan Henley covering a lot of ground. It looked initially like it might be a line drive up the middle for a base hit that could potentially tie the game. But Henley, we mentioned lots of fast runners out there in the outfield, and he shows it off right there why he is in center field, and he makes the play to end the inning. And at the end of 6.5, it's now 3-1. Pirates on top of the Bucs. It's time to stretch at Cal Poly Pomona. And welcome back. To the bottom of 7 we go. First pitch swung on and fouled out of play down the first base side by Greg Espinosa, and it's 0-1 to him. Jacob Cage remains on the hill for the Buccaneers. If you remember, he came back in the 5th inning and inherited a bases-loaded jam, gave up a hit, and the Pirates scored 2 runs there. As this breaking pitch is in there for strike 2 and his 0-2 to Espinosa. On deck is Michael Johnson. Will take his first cuts of the day. Here's the pitch from Cage. Fastball low and away for a ball. Well, the Inland Valley Buccaneers had bases loaded and no outs in the last inning. Only got 1 run out of it. I'm sure they wish they could have had more. As this one swung and driven up the middle, trying to make a diving catch and making it, gloving it actually is Seminaris. Doing an exceptional job making sure it didn't go into the outfield, but it will be an infield base hit for Greg Espinosa anyways. So Espinosa now reaching base for the 2nd time in 2 plate appearances today. The first time he walked and scored back in the 5th inning, and he was the one that started out that rally for the Pirates back in the 5th inning. The 2-out rally to be exact. Pickoff throw over to first by Cage. Cage has a pretty quick move, but couldn't catch Greg Espinosa napping. As we mentioned, this is a new hitter in there for Andrew Alvarez. This is Michael Johnson squaring around and bringing it back, but it's called a strike anyways. So Johnson will come in for Alvarez, who finished 1 for 3 with the runs scored here in this game. Here's the pitch from Cage. Fastball high and away, and actually that might have been a pitch out there for the Buccaneers, but Greg Espinosa was not running. They did have a snap throw down to first base by Juarez, but Espinosa got back, slid back head first safely. And now squaring around is Johnson. Another pickoff throw by Cage. Bucks pitchers have been very focused on the base runners, not really wanting to allow them to get anything here. Squaring around, and then once again, high and away. This definitely wasn't a pitch out. This was just a high ball from Cage. We mentioned Cage, of course, from Azusa Pacific, another school not too far away from Cal Poly Pomona here. Breaking pitch comes in there for strike 2. So the sacrifice bunt now is going to have to be off with a 2-strike pitch, and Johnson's going to have to protect the plate. Cage checks the runner at first. Now checks again. Comes home. Fastball swung on, lifted towards the shortstop Seminares. Seminares catches it, fires over to the second baseman Smith. Smith tries to finish the double play, but can't get it there in time. But they do get the lead runner at second, and the force out there. So Michael Johnson reaches on the fielder's choice. 6-4. And here comes A.J. David. And it looks like we'll have another new hitter coming up after David. That'll be Jason Padlow. So Padlow will take his first at-bat after this one from A.J. David. The runner's off. Ground ball to the right side. Jack Spawn catches it, fires over to second, and they complete the 3-6-3 double play. What a pick by Jack Spawn right down the first base line. Catches it. A very well-hit ball by A.J. David. Makes a spin move, then throws it to second base, and then it comes right back to him, and that finishes off the inning. And at the end of 7, it remains 3-1 here from Cal Poly Pomona. Pirates on top. You're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. We head to the top of the 8th, and we have a new pitcher on the mound for the Inland Valley Pirates. Aaron Reynoso has come on here in the 8th inning. His team leading 3-1. Fastball in there for strike 1 here, and it's 0-1. Actually, Campbell is at the plate, so this will be another replacement. Campbell coming in for Thibodeau. This one misses low, and it's 1-1 to Brendan Campbell. Well, Aaron Reynoso has been very, very good so far in the SCCBL season. In 9 2/3 innings pitched, he has 1 win and no earned runs. Fastball bounced to the right side over to Jason Padlow, who came in the last inning. He fields cleanly and throws over to first, and that is a 4-3 out there for the first here in the 8th inning. Here comes Diego Cortez for his second at-bat. In his first at-bat, it was against Jordan Sheffs, if you remember. And he tried to lay one down the third base line for a bunt single, but Sheffs got off the mound quick as a cat, barehanded it, and fired over to first base. This one misses low, and it's 1-0 to Cortez. Here's the pitch from Reynoso. Fastball swung on and missed, and it's 1-1. Of course, Aaron Reynoso, 5'10", 205-pound right-handed pitcher, played here at Cal Poly Pomona. One of 7 Broncos on this Pirate roster. Working out of the stretch and firing. This one misses outside, and it's 2-1 to number 2-1 for the Buccaneers. Aaron Reynoso is a business administration major here at CPP. Aspires to work in the front office of a baseball organization after his playing days are over. This one is a towering fly ball, foul, and out of play down the left field line. And it's 2-2. Of course, you know, Aaron Reynoso is really a baseball lifer and would love to be in the game as long as he possibly can, in any way he can be in the game. That proves by what his career aspirations are. Late kick, and here's the pitch. This one swung on and chopped to the right side. Two-hopper over to A.J. David, who will make the grab and step on the bag for the 3 unassisted put out there. That'll be the second out here in the 8th inning, as Richie Chavez will step up for his second at-bat. Chavez was the one who led off that 7th inning and walked and scored in the 7th on the RBI single by Jack Spahn. Richie Chavez is a guy who's really, really been good with the bat so far in the season for the Buccaneers, as he takes low for ball 1 on a breaking pitch, and it's 1-0 to him. Here's the 1-0 offering, and this one misses inside, and it's 2-0 to Diego Cortez, who's 5'10", 180, sophomore at University of Laverne, where actually 2 of the players for the Pirates are also members of the University of Laverne team, the Lepers, in the SCIAC Conference. This one misses outside, and it's 3-1. 2 members of the Pirates that are on the Lepers is the center fielder right now, Nolan Henley, as well as Brett Early, the pitcher. We figure to see him later in game 2, I mean, as this one is on the outside, and it's called strike 2. So full count pitch here, payoff pitch of sorts to Chavez, who actually initially came in left field and then moved over to right field, as this one misses high for ball 4, and the Buccaneers have a man on base with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning. And really in this situation, when you're down to your final 4 outs, if you're the Buccaneers, all you could ask is basically to have the chance to have that game-tying run at the plate, and that's what you have right now, as you trail by 2 runs, score 3-1. Of course, it's not the easiest place to hit one out of. In fact, I don't think we've seen a single home run here in the summer this year or last year. I know we didn't see one this year, but we might have seen one last year. But if we did see one, it was only one, as this pitch misses outside for ball 1 to Michael Smith. Talked about Michael Smith in his last at-bat. He has 4 older siblings, so he's the youngest of 5 from Oklahoma. Fastball in there for a strike. And all 4 of his older siblings playing collegiate athletics. His 2 sisters playing soccer, and his 2 brothers, of course, playing baseball. So he's got some big, shoes to fill, as this one is a pickoff throw over to first base by Reynoso. Michael Smith is 5'10", 170 pounds, went to Memorial High School over there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. One of 2 high school players on the Buccaneers, the other being Gerardo Ramirez. Off-speed pitch, paints the inside corner for strike 2. 2 down, 3-1 the score. Pirates on top of the Buccaneers in game 1 of a SCCBL doubleheader. Very well pitched game here so far, especially by Ryan Romero, and a pickoff throw to first by Reynoso. Romero only allowing 1 hit in 5 innings, and then Micah Byer really had a great performance as well, but ends up giving up 3 runs. He had 9 retired in a row, and had 2 outs in the 5th inning, and all of a sudden the bases get loaded, and he gets taken out of the game, and Jacob Cage gives up a 2-run single by Kyle Jackson. Of course, both runs were charged to Byer. But with that said, it's been a very well-pitched game by both sides. Here's the pitch from Reynoso. Off-speed pitch that hangs too high. That'll be a ball. Another hot day, of course, at Cal Poly Pomona. Another pretty much no-wind day, really. I mean, if you look out in the outfield at all the trees out there, they're pretty much stiff, not really moving at all. Certainly not enough to say that there's a wind going to the left or the right. This one swung on, line drive into center field. Nolan Henley takes 1 step back and then runs in and catches it for the final out of the inning. So the side is retired here for the Buccaneers in the 8th inning. And at the end of 7 1/2, Pirates lead 3-1. You're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. 3-1 the score. Pirates on top of the Buccaneers. Jason Padlow is the hitter who replaced Kyle Jackson in the field a couple innings ago, as the first pitch is bounced, a 58-footer by Jacob Cage, who remains on the mound. Jacob Cage, as we mentioned, initially Kevin Bowler, the manager, said that he probably only got a couple innings in here today because he went 5 hard innings. As this is nubbed off the edge of the bat and it goes in fair territory, Johnny Juarez calls off Cage and makes the throw down to first baseman Spawn and retires the first out in the form of Padlow here on the 2-3 put out right there. That was really weird. It was like a cue shot off the edge of the bat that initially actually started foul and then kind of curved into fair territory all the way onto the infield grass. And Juarez, being the field general that he is, calling off the pitcher and making the perfect throw down to first base. As there's one out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Here comes Nolan Henley. Henley in for his first at-bat, placing Jacob Bernardi, who had a tough day. Bernardi was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. There's a pitch from Cage. This off-speed pitch misses high, and it's 1-0 to Nolan Henley. We actually mentioned Henley back in the last inning as one of the 3 University of Laverne players represented by the Pirates and the Buccaneers. This one misses inside, and it's 2-0 to Henley. 2 of those members are on the Pirates and 1 on the Buccaneers, which we talked about in the last inning. It'll be Matthew Reynoso on deck for Nathan Virgin. This one comes in there right on the inside corner, 2-1 to the count. Well, Henley is another guy, kind of like a Fernando Escobar, who's very speedy. Seems like he's a really good leadoff type of hitter. Here's the pitch from Cage, fastball in at the knees, and it's 2-2. Henley's 5'11", 175. Hit .293 with the University of Laverne as a sophomore this season. .384 on base percentage. So that kind of backs up that he's a pretty good hitter to have in the leadoff spot. Here's the pitch from Cage. Breaking pitch on the outside corner, called strike 3, and Henley really didn't like that call, as he was kind of barking at the home plate umpire. But he's going to have to live with it because what the home plate umpire says is final. Here comes Matthew Reynoso, as we mentioned. Once again, just want to say the home plate umpire done a very good job to point out all the changes, at least at the plate. Most of them don't do that. As this is called a strike in his 0-1. In there at the knees. Matthew Reynoso, of course, the nephew of the manager Charlie Reynoso. Here's the pitch. This one misses low and inside to Reynoso. Reynoso is 5'10", 175 pounds. Left-handed hitter going against the right-handed hurler Cage. Cage leg kick fastball, misses inside for a ball. Reynoso will be here at Cal Poly Pomona like his cousin Aaron, who's actually on the mound right now for the Pirates. He's heading to Cal Poly Pomona this upcoming season. Fastball swung on. Chopper over to the right side over at Jack Spawn, who has it, and steps on the bag for the 3 unassisted putout. And so that'll do it for the 8th inning. And at the end of 8 full innings of play, it remains 3-1. Pirates on top. Buccaneers down to their final outs here, their final 3 outs. Can they get a rally going in the 9th inning? They have a good section of the lineup. You got Luke Asperger, Jack Spawn, and Johnny Juarez. We'll find out in just a few moments if the Bucs can mount a comeback. You're listening on InlandValleyBaseball.com. And welcome back. Here comes Kevin Riley for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Kevin Riley, 6'1", 185-pound right-handed hitter, one of the better hitters in the lineup for the Inland Valley Buccaneers. Of course, in the 3 spot, squaring around as the fastball is in there on the outside corner, called strike 1 from Aaron Reynoso. Reynoso on the mound is in a safe situation here. Pirates haven't had that many save situations. I believe only 1 save opportunity so far this season against the Power. That Jack Johnson came through in the clutch and closed the door. So they're 1 for 1 so far in save situations, as this one misses inside, and it's a ball from Reynoso. What that also means is that, of course, Jordan Sheffs, who worked 2 innings, has a hold, towering fly ball. Will that stay in the field of play? It's definitely foul, but the question is it playable? And it's not, as it hits off the net, and A.J. David won't be able to make the grab over there. So A.J. David in relentless pursuit, you could say. There's nothing you can do when it hits off that net, of course. Kevin Riley, of course, from Chaffey College. The right-handed hitter. Actually, with the closed stance, you don't see that many guys rock the closed stance. This is a towering fly ball to shallow left field. It's in that Bermuda Triangle zone, but Nolan Henley, showing a lot of range, makes the grab right in front of the left fielder, Michael Johnson, and the shortstop out there as well. And that'll be the first out here in the 9th inning. So the Buccaneers down to their final 2 outs as Luke Asperger comes to the plate. Luke Asperger, in his 1 plate appearance, was hit by a pitch on his left shoulder. Sidearm throw, swung on, line drive down the right field line, and Asperger will stop there. I mean, that was hit directly down the right field line. You'd think maybe that he would try to head for 2, but he thought better of it, as the Bucks now have the game-tying run at the plate again. We mentioned that in the last inning. All you could hope for is you get the runner on base, and then you at least have a chance with the hitter to tie the game. And that's what they've got right here. With 1 out in the top of the 9th inning, Aaron Reynoso hoping to slam the door shut for the Pirates. Breaking pitch in there, a nice one there, and it's 0-1 to Jack Spawn. Jack Spawn, 2 for 3 on the day with an RBI single. He's a very, very talented hitter from Point Loma Nazarene. This one swung on, but this one is driven a mile high on the infield dirt, and making the grab actually a foot off the infield and on the outfield grass is the third baseman, Greg Espinosa. And it looked like the 2 infielders had a little bit of an argument over who should have made the catch between the Espinosa over there and Escobar, the shortstop, as Nathaniel Acosta comes in for his first at-bat of the day. Here's the pitch from Reynoso. Off-speed pitch misses for ball 1, 1-0 the count. Nathaniel Acosta replaces Johnny Juarez. If you remember, in our last broadcast, or one of our last broadcasts for the Buccaneers, Nathaniel Acosta came in and pinch hit and had the game-winning RBI against the Long Beach Legends. Breaking pitch in dirt for a ball. He's another guy that you look at that has talent at hitting as well as pitching. See a few of those guys on both sides, both on the red and in the white for the Buccaneers and Pirates. Fastball outside for a ball. Well, the Buccaneers trail 3-1. They're down to their final out here in Game 1. They do have the game tying run at the plate in the form of Acosta. Luke Asperger is on first base, who singled into right field. This pitch misses low, and that is ball 4. So Acosta draws the free pass. And now up comes Seminaris. Anthony Seminaris is 0 for 1, flew out to center field. And if you recall, he hit pretty much a line drive to center field that Nolan Henley got to in time. He actually had runners on second and third at the time. And at the time, he could have tied the game up if that dropped for a hit. Fastball overthrown. Nice job by Christian Kelly to make sure that it didn't reach the backstop, as directly after that pitch, Charlie Reynoso comes out to the pitcher's mound and will call for timeout. It's always the toughest thing. You see it time and time again at lots of levels, not just at the collegiate level or maybe the high school level, even in the professional level. The hardest thing to do usually is to get that last out. And that's why there's very few closers in Major League Baseball, especially very few closers that you could rely on. I mean, Just look at even yesterday with Kenley Jansen coming in with a 2-run lead, blowing a 2-run lead against the Padres of all teams. So Charlie giving some words of encouragement and advice to his son, Aaron, as Aaron now with a little bit of a jam, 2 men on, but 2 outs here in the top of the 9th inning. His team leads by 2. Here's the pitch. And it's an off-speed pitch, low for ball 2. So it's 2-0 to number 2, Anthony Seminaris. Seminaris is a guy who's come through in the clutch a few times this season for the Buccaneers. He would love nothing more than to come through right here. Fastball outside, paints the black, and it's 2-1. Costa on first base. Asperger on second base. Asperger had the single to right field. Acosta drew the walk. Here's the pitch from Reynoso. Fastball once again on the outside corner. Once again painting the black of the plate. And it's 2-2 to number 2 with 2 outs. And the Buccaneers trailing by 2. So I guess a lot of deuces running wild here. As Reynoso checks the runner at second, here's the pitch. Fastball swung and fouled out of play down the first base line. So we'll do it again. Another 2-2 pitch to come. The Bucs down to their final strike, but showing signs of life here with 2 men on base. This is a very big moment for both hitter and pitcher as Reynoso shakes off Christian Kelly's signs twice, and now finally they agree to Reynoso and Kelly on what this pitch is going to be, and it's a fastball, and it's a ground ball over to the third baseman, Greg Espinosa. Espinosa was going to apply the tag on Asperger originally, and Asperger kind of stopped halfway in between second and third, and then Espinosa just ran to the base and steps on the base for the 5 unassisted put out right there, and the Pirates take game 1 of the doubleheader, 3-1, as they all meet out at the pitcher's mound and high-five and congratulate themselves for a job well done. They now go up to 3-2 in league play, 11-3-1 overall. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers dropping another game, fall to 2-7 in league play, and 3-11 overall. As really the story of this game, a lot of good pitching and some timely hitting for the Pirates, as there's a little bit of a conference in between home plate and third base now with the 2 coaching staffs. I assume they're just kind of going over whether or not, well, you know, basically who's going to be home next game. But anyways, like we said, it was the Pirates who came through with 1 in the first inning, and that 1 run, if you recall, was scored on a wild pitch on a strikeout as Fernando Escobar came home to score, and it made it 1-0. Then in the 5th inning, huge hit for Kyle Jackson. With 2 outs, he had a 2-run single, scoring Greg Espinosa and Andrew Alvarez, 2 Houston Baptist players coming home to score and make it a 3-0 game. And then back in the top of the 7th, the Bucs got 1 back on an RBI single by Jack Spahn that scored Richie Chavez. But that was all they could muster. They could only get that 1 run, and so that's it. But they did have a lot of base runners in the 8th and 9th innings, and they gave it all they could, and they fought until the bitter end, did the Buccaneers, but they just didn't have enough to top the Pirates here in Game 1 of the doubleheader. Game 2 of the doubleheader will start in approximately 30 minutes. So as I'm looking at my clock right now, it's 4:18, so figure around a 4:45 start, 4:48 if we want to be exactly on the 30-minute zone there. But we will look forward to calling Game 2 of the doubleheader, and, of course, we will be thrilled for you to join us for the second half of this Saturday doubleheader, both games counting on the SCCBL schedule. So very, very important games here today. And, of course, thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Sobera. I'm the play-by-play. I'm so thrilled that you joined us here for Game 1, and we'll see you in just, 30 minutes.